talked about this and we've kind of debated what the number would be. Turns out nearly 20% of the world's giant sequoias burned in recent Northern California fires.
Yeah, so it was 2020 was the Castle Fire, and that burned through a lot of the giant sequoias over. They basically grow in like northern central-ish California, just below the Sierra Nevadas, and we're talking about like the Sequoia National Forest. And that is the entirety of the world's giant sequoias grow in California. That's it. This is the only place that they grow, but they are the largest tree in the world. So they're something of a national treasure or world treasure.
Well, it's not just the largest tree; it's also the oldest living thing on the planet.
Well, redwoods are a little bit older, I believe.
Well,
don't quote me on that, but I think that
General Sherman isn't General Sherman the oldest living thing on the planet right now?
No,
I'm pretty sure it says it in this article.
Oh, really? Does it? Oh,
I mean, I did.
It's hard to because you have redwoods and you have sequoias, and they're two different trees. The redwoods are the tallest, I believe. And maybe you're right. Maybe sequoias are the largest in diameter and the oldest.
Quote, the General Sherman tree, the largest living thing on Earth.
Yeah, but you said oldest. I don't know how old they are. Yeah, so that's all these trees have all these different delineations, but the sequoias and the redwoods are the most marvelous trees on the planet. But sometimes I get it mixed up, which is which, So they are saying they've concluded their assessment of the Windy Fire and the KMP Complex Fire, which famously burned through the Sequoia National Forest and National Park this past late summer. And between those fires and the Castle Fire last year, around 10 to 15,000 giant sequoias burned. That is nearly 20% of the entire population of these trees on the planet. Like you said, they're the largest tree on the planet, and they're a special tree, and you can't just like plant one of these because it literally takes like thousands of years to grow. So once we lose them, I mean, of course we can grow more to keep the species going, but we're kind of without them now.
They talk about this in this AP article that we read on this. That it's, and I kind of liked how they worded it, kind of talking about it's going to take many lifetimes, like many human lifetimes, in order for. They are planting some of these trees. They're trying to save things, and they haven't really done that before. But it's almost comical that they're planting them, because it's like you're trying to replace like 1,000-year-old tree with a little seedling. I mean, but you got to do it. It's good to do. But there was some like positive news from this story, right?
Right. So, they do really need, these sequoias need fire to how do you
just be a healthy living environment, I guess. They need naturally to happen.
To reproduce. Like
right.
Fire helps them burst out their seedlings out of the tree and spread. But that is, and we actually talked with Joanna Nelson from Save the Redwoods League, whatever that was, 2 months ago, about this very thing, right? Low heat, low intensity fire is really important for these trees to reproduce. High intensity fire, which is what we're seeing in Northern California the last few years, destroys them. So it's like there's like a middle ground that we're really trying to find, and some were destroyed by high intensity fire, but a lot of these fires that burned through here were low intensity, and it will help propagate the species a little bit longer. So that is good news. You're right.
And those lower heat fires that we're talking about, the controlled burns that we do are those. They are trying to maintain, forest management, if you will. And in this article, they talk about how the areas to which they had been practicing the controlled burns and had been really working it, they showed progress. It was working. And so that'll just expand that practice, which will hopefully just improve this wildfire crazy decade that we've had.
Right. And yeah, I mean, this responsible burning, this controlled burning that are going through these really, important areas of forest in Northern California, like the sequoias, like the redwoods. We're learning how important it is. These trees, both redwoods and sequoias, are known to be fireproof, but they are low intensity fireproof. So we need to burn through these areas so high intensity fire does not come through and just destroy them outright. And it's really fascinating that we're learning this right now. And my assumption is that Native Americans sort of knew all this, going back thousands of years. I'm actually reading this really cool book called Sapiens, and it talks about just the history of Homo sapiens and how people, came over through the Bering Strait a long time ago, longer than initially thought. So the people who lived in these areas where these redwoods were growing, thousands of years ago, probably knew this stuff. But as a modern human society, we're just now kind of learning this stuff. So it's fascinating, although it's really troublesome that these fires are getting through and burning high intensity and kind of destroying these forests that we know and love so much.
It's hard to predict nature, but we're getting a little bit better, and we're figuring out ways of, reducing as much damage as we possibly can.